Hey, everybody, welcome to another Tuesday night here. What'd I do? No, I don't want to do that. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that. Once again, thank you guys, everybody, for joining me here on another Tuesday night. Today, I want to talk about the kind of the childish acts that continue to happen in this hobby. It just blows my mind sometimes the reactions we get from individuals for doing things in this hobby. And I think PK did a really good live talking about this. But I think in general, I think it's a good conversation to be had when it comes down to the overall acting in this hobby. You know, everybody does things to make money. Everybody does things to move forward in this hobby, whether it's to fund your hobby, whether it's to make money, make it a business, depending on where you are in your life and what you're trying to do with this particular hobby. There's so many avenues and so many opportunities. So the one thing that I will say is that I continue to see things that occur where people are judging other people, and I think PK did a really good job, and I'm going to put a shout out to him on this one with his live, saying that all of us are inherently evil in this hobby. Let's just be 100% honest. Everybody does things to do that would be considered evil to somebody, whether it's myself ripping product, buying tins, for example, buying the C22 tins, or buying the Evolution tins that you see behind me, like those. Buying those, ripping them open, and selling the Evolving Skies for a profit larger than the tins, and then also, on top of it, selling the packs inside of it for even a larger profit. So overall, there's a lot of people that sit there and inherently do evil things in this hobby. And in some way, shape, or form, we're all going to end up being in that boat in some way, shape, or form. I think at the end of the day, everybody's feelings are kind of the same when it comes down to that, is that some people's things that they do are evil and could be considered as being sus, or could be seen as being, evil to the hobby, whether you're trying to take money and make money, it takes money from so much or from some place and do that. Of course, as everybody's probably aware of, I'm referring to everything that's been going on with Pokey Chloe and, Possum Budge, Shiny Vert, Rattle, all these guys going back, Cool Trainer Ryan even chiming in on the comments and things like that. And, I was going to do this as a video, and I tried doing a video so many different ways. And, the problem is that I was overdoing it. I recorded like 3 times trying to do this, and I just decided, you want to know something? It's dumb. Try to do a video on this. Let's just do a rant and be done with it. That way I could get my thoughts out here. You guys can let me know in the chats what your thoughts are on this. You guys can put in your feelings about the whole situation, and we could have a grown-up discussion here on the channel. But overall, PK, really good points. Overall, I do agree with him that inherently all of us are doing something evil in this hobby, whether you're getting the free promos, the Van Gogh promos, or anything like that and selling them. So it's another perfect example. Anybody that wants to sit there and cast stones in this hobby lives in glass houses. Anybody that's making profit or selling stuff to make money, whether it's to upgrade your collection, your asset value in the Pokemon TCG, or if you're just trying to make a business and make money on this, regardless, at the end of the day, you are trying to turn profit, and you are doing things that are wrong, or could be considered wrong to someone else. Once again, living in glass houses, we do things that at the end of the year, I don't make an excessive amount of profit. I don't intend to make an excessive amount of profit. Overall, I try and shoot for 20 to 30% over my costs for the year. So that's a goal of a business, right? Stay 20 to 30% above, and then you got a successful business. That builds you for the next year moving forward. That pays your wages or whatever, your income, whatever you want to make out of this hobby, or you just put it in like me, going into the next collection piece. All of these things occur by doing that. So if I can get one item that I can double in price and do it, I'm going to do it, because that's going to give me the leverage to maybe give a better deal on something else or lower my prices over here. Overall, Opossum's Bed video, I don't know how that got spun into what it was. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I saw the first video when he asked the question. I saw the second video where he was responding to the comments. Personally, he never attacked Pokey Chloe on it. What he did attack is the people who call this scamming and this not scamming. And I do agree. If you're going to sit there and set a standard for scamming or a standard for scalping, then it needs to be whether or not it's your most favorite content creator or it's the people at the Pokemon Center buying products and selling them for twice the price outside. Pokey Chloe, I don't know what she spent on that. I'm not even going to put a number. It doesn't even make a difference. I'm guaranteeing that she probably doubled that price. That's what I would do, honestly, with those promos. Take your advantage of them while you can. Plus, she had the cost of going over to Hawaii. I guarantee going from Britain to Hawaii is not a cheap ticket. Plus the hotel, food, driving, all the other stuff. It's mind-blowing the cost. So if she could get $1,000 for those particular cards, all the more power to her. Personally, that's business, and it's called capitalism, guys. And if you don't like capitalism, then you're probably in the wrong hobby. Because in general, if they aren't worth $1,000, people in this hobby have been here long enough, and the people that are shopping for those particular promos have been in this hobby long enough that they can make the justification to whether or not they want to spend that price or not. Capitalism works pretty simply when it comes down to a market, right? You put a product out there. You got product A. Doesn't matter what the product is. You got product A, you put it out there for sale, and you put a price value on it. And you say it's worth this much in my opinion. You put it on the market, and if it sells, it sells. Obviously, it was valued correctly or undervalued at that problem. The other part of it is that maybe you overpriced it and it doesn't sell. So PokeChloe could very easily put these products out there and they don't sell. Okay, what do? You revert back. You go, okay, I'm going to lower the price. I'm going to lower the price again. I'm going to lower the price again until you find that selling point. That's how capitalism works, guys. If the market will buy it, they'll buy it. If they won't, they don't, and you adjust your pricing to do so. It's the same thing with your Pokemon investment. You're buying things with the intention that it's going to sell higher than when you purchased it. And that is exactly what we're looking for and what you're trying to do, whether you're even doing it as a collection or a flipping, where you're trying to make a little bit extra capital to go into that market and actually make a little income. You want the prices to increase, and you sit there and put your prices accordingly. It's just really interesting to me that, once again, in the whole trail of things, Opossum Bud never went under PokeChloe, went after her in any way, shape, or form. Shiny Vert video was very, very difficult to watch. It was all conjecture. It was all no fact base. It was literally him rambling and making up a bunch of stuff that made no sense, and then kind of going back and forth in different directions. It became very difficult to watch that particular video. And to me, he went specifically at PokeChloe, and out of all the people that could have gone after her, he was the worst. Anybody that's making mystery packs where you are taking your stuff and making 3 to 4 times profit on the packs that you're putting in there, or the garbage that you're dumping into a bag and you're selling it to people under the term of mystery packs, is really, really, really dumb to throw stones at how someone else is doing their business. Let's be 100% honest. I didn't agree with that at all, for that he would be the one that would come after PokeChloe. Possum Blood, he put just the question out there, and I think it was a good question. I don't think he did a bad video. He didn't go after PokeChloe for anything, and overall, I think that it was well done just putting a question out there. Why is this scalping and this not? Why do we okay with PokeChloe doing this, but all of a sudden the people buying the Pokemon merch from the Pokemon Center and putting it out there for sale is all of a sudden at double the price the bad people? That, once again, I don't understand what was wrong with that video when he points that out, because to me, it's a very fine line between scalping and actually making profit. Once again, when you buy a product from someplace, go to Walmart, buy a product, and you resell it someplace else, you could technically be in the realm of scalping. That's just the way that it is when it comes down to products. And you're not buying it wholesale, and you're not buying, even people buy it wholesale, let's be 100% honest. Our distributors right now are literally price gouging us on particular things. So even our distributors are going well above what Pokemon puts out there for them to sell it for, because it's popular. So they'll sell ETBs and booster boxes overvalue from the first release because they became popular. So we see these continual tangents and runs and moves all over the hobby. And Opossum Bud, to me, put out a really good point. At what point do you consider it scalping, and what point is it not scalping? Is it because it's your favorite YouTube creator, now it's okay? Or is it because it's just some people off the street that have no reputation selling them on eBay and on the streets, now it's scalping? And that's the fine line that you can run on, and where it is and where that is and where that could be. And overall, it just became very childish. And then you got Rattle, and I could get into Rattle's going after Opossum Bud. Like I said, I don't know how he interpreted Opossum's Bud's way the way he did, but to me, it just felt like he's got the hots for Pokey Chloe, and he was going on to protect her as a knight in shining armor with this video that he did, which once again, he's the one that's in glass houses of making conjecture all the way through half of his videos on what someone's doing. He's not there. He's not in person. He's getting information from multiple sources and putting together a chain of events to create a line of a succession of what occurred in most of his videos. And then he's going to sit there and blame them for making conjecture about with a video on how someone got a notice from someone that she paid $100 for something and used that in the video, how that doesn't make sense, how that's wrong, you didn't pay $100, blah, blah, blah. He would use that source. If it was for one of his videos on something that he wanted, he would have used the exact same source and used that to his full advantage because, hey, I've got a source. This is good. So, the way that this became very childish is absolutely astonishing to me at how far this went into it all. And I will agree with PK 100%. I think he did a really good layout of that. If you want to go down to these standards and you really want to look at it, we're all inherently evil. I'm evil. Anybody that's making money in this hobby is evil. If you aren't a distributor or an LCS, you're inherently evil. Let's just be 100% honest. By the way that we went with this particular event. So, overall, I think that it became very childish. We don't need people protecting other people. I don't know what the deal was with Rattle. I'm not even going to go into what he was thinking on that particular issue. I'm not going to sit there and really, really break it down because, in my opinion, I don't think that Pokey Chloe did anything incredibly bad. I think that she probably paid a fair amount for those particular items at, Worlds. I'm thinking that she probably, and once again, I haven't asked. I'm not even going to do that. But I'm if she got them for $100, good for her. I know from people that I know that bought those at Worlds and were at that event, it was somewhere between $250 and $400, depending on who you know and who you were. So you're looking at that for the price range on those, and for her to maybe pay $400 and charge $1,000. Do I think that that's way out of line? No, because once again, when you're looking at a business side of things, you're really not going to be looking at it as an individual item. I don't even look at my sales as an individual item. I look at my yearly total or my quarterly totals as I'm going through. I try to maintain between 20 and 30%. So if I can make money on a particular product that sells very well, I'm going to take the opportunity to make my margins on that particular product because it has desire, it has want, people are willing to pay for that particular item, and I may have enough of it to make a really good profit margin on that particular item, because other items, I may not get that 20% profit margin. I might only be at 10 and 11%, so that buffers that particular loss or that down where I'm not at 20%. So at the end of the quarter, I'm averaging out right where I want to be when it comes down to the overall pricing. And that's the bigger thing is that if you have something lucrative, you need to take advantage of it. Those particular promos, those staff promos, are always very hot and sought after items, and there's a potential to be very lucrative on them. Now, do I think it's worth $1,000 personally? No. I think there's too many of them out there nowadays. These aren't like the old staff promos where they're hard to find, very difficult to get, and really, really, really hard to find them in good condition. These staff promos are a dime a dozen. Every staff member gets 4, and these 4 are spread out, and they're basically used as sales for these particular people that are helping and actually working at Worlds. It's a way for them to make a little bit extra income for what they're actually making, which isn't very much at Worlds from what I've understood. So these are basically a way for them to make a little extra cash without Pokemon actually paying them. They're just giving them some staff promos. So once again, not very hard to find. Are they worth $1,000? I don't think that they are personally. I just don't. I would never pay $1,000 for that particular promo. I think that they're maybe futuristically they could go up in that value, but off the bat I think it was a little high. But once again, if she can sell them at that price, all the more power to them. Even her listing was at or best offer. So if you would have made an offer, she might have sold them to you at a lower price. But I'm going to be honest, for Capitalistic and for how those particular items sell and how much in demand they are, especially the day or 2 days after they're released at Worlds, they tend to go really high, and that we see that with all kinds of products. I mean, Van Gogh promos, the Squirtle promos, all these Charmander program promos and things like that continue. Pikachu promos, they do really well, and sometimes they shoot extremely high, and then they kind of settle back down after time, and then they go back up again as the markets kind of settle and get into a rhythm. So once again, capitalism would take care of the problem. It wasn't necessary to sit there and have a knight in shining armor. It wasn't necessary for Shiny Vert to come out and try and call her out, living in his glass house, an extremely brittle glass house on his end, and try and call someone out. And I think Opossum Bud did put out a very good question. I think overall, a very nice question was put out there on the one video asking, you know, would you consider this scalping and would you not? And the comments on that video were very good. I think some people made some good valid points on both sides of it, but in general, most of the comments were leaning to the fact that it wasn't really, they wouldn't consider it scalping, and they wouldn't consider that. Even the people outside of Pokemon Center, it's a little bit more difficult. Now, I'm going to say one thing when it comes down to scalping, and this is where I have always known the definition of scalping is that you buy from the market and you sell to the same market at an extravagant price. I would say that the people selling outside of the Pokemon Center, going into the Pokemon Center, buying the product, coming out and selling it for double the price after pulling it off those shelves, to me, is a form of scalping. That's like buying movie tickets. That's like buying concert and, you know, those kind of tickets. When you go there to the venue and someone's out in the parking lot selling them for 4 times the prices that they paid for those particular items right at the venue, then that tends to feel that's pretty much the textbook version of scalping. When you actually look at it, is the original, and I don't know, there's been so many different definitions now in videos that I've seen, and I don't know where they come from, but the original definition that I always knew of scalping is when you purchase something from a market or from a marketplace and then redistribute at an exuberant price into the same market. So her selling them online out of the market to people who don't have access to them at a larger price is a little bit harder to even claim it as scalping. The people that are actually in Hawaii, sitting there right outside of Pokemon Center, literally as they're stocking, they're grabbing, and they're selling it for 4 times the price outside, to me, is textbook definition of scalping. But even if you were to have taken those items, gone to the Pokemon Center, gone and put them online, and sold them out of the place where people don't have access to them, I didn't have access to it. But if I wanted to get one of the ukuleles, I would have to go online and pay an exuberant price for that particular ukulele. I know I'm going to have to do that, though, if I wanted it, but I can't go there. I didn't have the income. I didn't have the availability to go to Worlds. I wasn't offered to come as a Pokemon, creator. I didn't get any benefits to go there. And overall, I think that that's the one thing that a lot of people need to really look at, too, is that was it accessible to everybody? No, they were not. What are these promos going to go for? We don't know yet. The market's too fresh. We will know here probably fairly soon, but we don't know at this point in time. And how things will lay out is just way up in the air when it comes down to the market on free, promo cards. Even the staff guys technically scalped them because they got them and sold them back to the same market that they were. We could go down this stupid rabbit hole. My personal thought is that, unless someone is doing something extremely scammy where they are 100% taking advantage, whether they are, buying this 15110, opening it up and opening the packs and then throwing the garbage back in and selling it as a sealed tin. Yeah, that's pretty scammy. I think that's something that needs discussed. People do stealing and theft issues are definitely something that should be discussed. I don't think that we should be worrying about this hobby, how people sell their particular products. This isn't a boom. This isn't a point in this hobby where there's an just absolute chaos like we were back in 2021, 2020. This is more of a laid-back market, and I honestly think that at this point in time, we should just let capitalism take its course, let capitalism do its thing, continue to allow what people will buy, and don't allow and let them people retract on pricing for the stuff that they can't sell. And that's exactly how it works, and that's the way that it should be working. So let me know in the chat, what do you guys think? Is it really way far off to just stop being childish about nitpicking what people are doing in their business, regardless if they're a YouTube creator or just Joe Schmo off the street? I think that if they can get sales practices, and as long as they're not doing scammy, actually trying to scam people, doing the old bait and switch, here, buy this tin, and then you send them one that's completely smashed, or you sit there and buy first edition base set packs that are unweighed, and they're sending them weighed ones, which is probably known to happen. These kind of things I definitely think should be looked at. I think that that's where investigating, we should be informing people of these individuals and keeping ahead of them, seeing how Pokey Chloe does her business and how much she makes for a staff promo, to me, is not something that we should be concerned about, nor putting any time or emphasis into it. Once again, we're getting into this really weird point in this hobby where people are getting bored. I think content creators are partially running out of things to pick on. They're running out of things to discuss. They're running out of things to pick on. They're running out of stuff to go after. And I think that I'm worried that this is going to be a spiraling trend that we're going to see unless something extravagant happens. And maybe, the new Eevee Heroes 2 will be the one that pushes that. The new Team Rocket set, maybe that'll bring us out of this funk and finally get things moving to where we have more to discuss. Even myself, it's been really difficult to really do videos. I'm not going to lie. I like these lives because we can have discussions about things that are happening. And I get the live interaction with you guys versus doing content of videos. Because I keep sitting down to do videos. I'm going to be honest with you. I probably have done about 10 videos and none of them that I really, really, really want to publish. Because it just feels either A, that I'm being whiny about something, B, the information is just word vomit. It's just literally saying the same thing that everybody's saying the same thing that everybody's saying. And I just don't want to produce that content. I don't want to go in that direction personally. I would rather put out a good live where we have a discussion about something like this, hear what you guys have to say, have that discussion about these particular items, and then go from there for where we want to be in the hobby. Overall, I think that there's some good things out of this. I think that when it comes down to Pokey Chloe and her business practices, it is what it is. People were then going after the fact that she's overpriced in UK, she's overpriced in this. Let capitalism do its job. If you're overpriced, you're overpriced. If she has a fan base that wants to spend the extra because they want something from her, let them spend the money. It's their money. They are fans of her. They're willing to spend another 5 to 10% on an item. Let them do it. And I think Eric just said it as I'm looking at the chat here real quick. I just saw him at the bottom. So, Eric, I think you're right. It's all about integrity. If you have integrity at the end of the day, there is nothing to be concerned about. Have I seen anything, even from Pokey Chloe, that I would say I don't see integrity in what she does? No, I don't think that I see that at all. I think that, like I said, she had an opportunity to get something that was scarce at that point in time and took advantage of a market that was lacking in that particular item and used that to the advantage to maybe pay for her trip to Hawaii. I mean, you think about the cost of that trip. If she could sell those 6 promos, she'd probably cut her costs in half. I looked at a plane ticket to even go there from the United States beforehand because I was just curious for myself to fly there for Worlds. And from Wisconsin to there, it was almost $1,800 to fly over to there. I can't imagine what it costs from the UK going over to Hawaii. It's literally the opposite end of the world. So she would have either had to go through the United States or go through Middle East and Asia to get there, or through Japan and all that. So once again, it's cost effectiveness of her business. If she can sell something at a premium when the market's hot, it is what it is. So I think that a lot of people need to stop policing. I think that we need to just start focusing on what's important in this hobby, whether that's the art, complain about Pokemon not putting out the right sets, overprinting, or having the wrong pull rates. I think that those are good conversations to be had. I think continuing to point out actual scams where people are doing bait and switches, people are putting up fake cards, or stealing things, or withholding stuff, are definitely conversation pieces that should be had just for the general community. And the other thing I think that we really need to work on is that if we want to do anything in this hobby, any channel out here that watches this, anybody, content creator out there, I think if you wanted to build really good content at this point in time, I think that you would be better off taking your content and making it into almost like a teaching moment. Use that content to teach someone what to look for, rather than sitting there and just pointing it out. Rattle's video is another perfect example. Opossum Bud, another perfect example. They talk about and show the cases that they're discussing at that point in time, but none of them really explain why it's this way. Nobody really explains why they think this is particularly fake. And that's even like going to Rattle's Discord or on his Twitter account and that kind of stuff, X account. He always puts up, go report this as fake. Some of those cards, I don't even know how he knows they're fake when he puts them up. Some of them are pretty obvious. I mean, you could tell right away. But other ones, it's really difficult to tell. And I think that there's a misteaching moment on those particular cards that we could really take the time and inform individuals on what they're looking at, which I think at this point in our journey in the Pokemon hobby would be a lot better off, especially for newer people coming in and people that have not been in this hobby before, to be able to teach them what to look for rather than just say something's bad. And that's just my personal opinion. Overall, I think that this whole thing is just full of children when it comes down to this. This got to be a very childish event that came from a simple question on whether this is scamming or this is scamming. And that's all that came out, that this was all about. And that's the bigger thing that I think that is really, really something that needs to be looked at, is just getting more integrity between each other, even in the hobby. I think there can be a lot of things done together, a lot of work done together. Going after a content creator because whatever the reasonings are is just not your business. Pokey Chloe too, I have not seen a rebuttal from her, and I don't blame her for not even addressing this. I think that if she's smart, she'll just stay out of it like she's been doing. I don't know if she has on Instagram. She hasn't put anything up on YouTube. I haven't checked her Instagram, but my feelings is that if it was me, I would just stay out of it. Let the kids squabble in the playpen while you go and continue to do what you're doing. That's just my feelings on this. But overall, let me know. Let me know in the chat what you guys think. I'd like to have a conversation. See what you guys are actually feeling about this. Do you think that this got way blown out of proportion? Am I, way off on something on this? Is my rant completely worthless and just doesn't make sense? Are we all inherently evil in a way in this hobby? Just let me know in the chats. I'm going to go ahead and kind of start going down the chats because we're at, about my, I almost went 30 minutes. Not too bad. Not too shabby on that one. So once again, thank you, iFOMO. As always, thank you for joining into the stream. Glad to have you here. Gimbo, glad to see you back. Been a little bit, so I'm glad to see you back in the chat as well. Snow Goon, welcome in, bud. Thanks for stopping. Greenie's here. We got anybody new? FNK or FN Viking, thank you so much for stopping in. And Eric, thank you so much. Thank you so much for jumping in as well. So I just saw iPhone put in here. I'm not even sure what Pokey Chloe did as scalping. I don't think it is. Personally, I don't think it's scalping. In my opinion, she didn't do anything that was really scalping. Pokey Slam, thank you so much for jumping in here at the end. I'm just going to go through here. I've almost said, although people are showing off suitcases full of from Hawaii, it's a little cringe. Yeah, I do agree with that, and that's where I have my issues too, and where I feel like it'd be a little bit, the merch would be a little bit more scalping, especially in Hawaii when you're literally right outside the Pokemon store and you're reselling stuff at double, triple, quadruple the price of the stuff in the Pokemon Center right behind you. To me, that's the definition, like textbook definition of scalping as long as I've known it. Because you're selling it literally right to the same market. You are buying it in right behind you in that market, and you are selling it right back to that market at a stupid price. And if you're selling it out, you're shipping it, whatever, makes a little bit more sense because people don't have access to it. Once again, that supply and demand market kicks in at that point. And once again, capitalism at its finest. If you can feed a supply, if you have a supply for something that's in demand, you can sell it for a premium. If you're creating the demand, then that's scalping. That's another good way of looking at that. And I was trying to remember the best way to look at it, and that's what someone had actually told me a long time ago. Is scalping is when you are artificially causing the demand in your own area. So by them going to Pokemon Center and buying everything off the shelf, they are artificially creating the demand for that particular product and then selling it to that market for an exuberant price. PokeChloe is not doing that with those staff promos. They are available. There's more of them out there. That's where I don't really consider her scalping at all. But the people outside the store, I would make the argument, and that was probably the best argument that I saw even on Possum Buds, is that they are intentionally creating a market. They are depleting a market of supply by purchasing it out and then selling to that market that they depleted at an exuberant price. So I think that that's probably the best way to put that, and what the difference is even between the two, between scalping and, just selling. Greenie, what's wrong? It's not wrong. It just looks shitty. I find it funny. Yeah, it does and it doesn't. I mean, once again, you got a supply item that's not there. I definitely think so. Let's see. It's the same thing. It just looks bad because she has an LGS. I'd just rename it Scalpies and that would be hilarious. Once again, we're all in it then. If you want to go that route, every one of us that sells right now is doing the exact same thing she's doing. I go to Walmart all the time and I buy tins from Walmart and I break those tins down and I sell them at double profit. So I'm no different. You might as well change mine to Scalpy Woods. Because, I mean, once again, that's that, like PK said, and he put it perfectly. We're all inherently evil. We're all doing that exact same thing. That's exactly what all of us are doing. And we don't know what she paid for those. I don't know if she's ever put out there what she paid for those, nor would I think that she will. But regardless, even if she doubled the price, that's what I'm doing with the tins around here. I mean, that's what we do. We continually break things down to double our profits. That's the goal. So everybody's doing business. How you do business is your business. That's exactly what it is, and it's your own business. What you want to do is up to you. Granted, if you're doing something shady, then yeah. So I don't know. Like I said, it's that one's really, really, really stretching it to try and call it that. If you wanted to go after anything that she would be doing is that she's taking advantage of her community. But even so, I mean, all these content creators, these bigger ones, take advantage of their community in some way. What do you think a Rev Pack is? I mean, that mystery pack is literally taking advantage of his community. Same with Shiny Vert. He's taking advantage of his community to sell packs. I mean, that's exactly what they're doing. Let's see. iFomo greets. Snowgoon. Can't please everyone. Might as well just please a buyer and oneself as a seller. Just my opinion. I agree with that. Do what works. Like I said, stay in moderation. If you find a place that you're trying to hold and you're trying to keep it at a certain point, yeah. I mean, it is what it is. Rattle the Stallion. Yeah. Effing Viking. Let's be real. She's not hurting for money at all. All business. No, I agree. She's not hurting for money. I'm not hurting for money either doing this. I mean, that's just it. I think overall, none of us are hurting for money still at this point in time. The markets have gotten tighter. I mean, granted, you do have costs for buildings and everything else. I don't know what inflation is in Britain. I don't know what their costs have gone up either. That's the other thing is people are looking at her prices online and then compare them to our prices and say that she's too expensive. Like I said, it's really hard and difficult to kind of break this stuff down. So, to each their own. The market will correct. I hate to be the bearer of bad news for anybody in business. When it comes down to a market and to capitalism in general, it will correct. And if you are overpriced or if you are out of the market, you will literally price yourself out. You will kill yourself if you're not careful. You can run high lines, even myself. Where I'm at right now in business, I could run the really high margin. I have the most training of anybody in northern Wisconsin. I am literally the go-to guy for 6 or 7 different companies if they have an issue with anything in northern Wisconsin. I travel 2 to 3 hours for my stuff, and I could, in theory, charge a premium for my service. Literally a premium, because I have those credentials behind me, and I don't. I stay middle of the ground. I like being in the middle of the road. That's just personally me. I try and maintain that 20 to 30% profit margin. Could I push 50% profit margin per year? Probably. My HVAC business particularly, I probably could, and it wouldn't be that hard, just because of the reputation that I bring and the fact that when you buy from me and you purchase equipment from me, you know that I'm installing it per manufacturer with the back of the I've been factory trained on every one of the pieces of equipment I go into. I know all this equipment and I am the service guy for the whole northern part of the state on this equipment, I could charge a premium. I just personally don't. I stay middle of the ground. I try and be reasonable. I try to keep my pricing at a very, very consistent pricing for everybody out there to, to be competitive and stay competitive. Because if the markets change, I don't want to be known as that overpriced person, because the overpriced people are the first people that get dropped out of the market. And that's just it. I want to have that competitive edge to where I can be competitive, be there. If the markets change, I don't have to try and drop my prices a ton, because then you get used to a way of living and then you try and drop really fast. Like I said, eventually it'll bite you in the butt. It's just a matter of time when you run those margins. So either A, you have to be smart and predict that happening and really store up some funds, or B, you just don't put yourself in that position. You run middle road where you're competitive in the market the whole time. Let's see here. Gimbo Slice. There's opportunity out there, everyone. If people took the energy complaining to figure out those opportunities, they'd be a lot better off. Exactly, and that's where I'm kind of at on this. Stop being childish. Just freaking start looking. Even those promo cards. There's some. I'm sure that there's some. I haven't even looked because I really don't care about the staff promos. That's never been something that I have ever really gotten into myself. Never really had a desire to get into them, like trophy cards. I'm not a big trophy cards guy. I know people that love trophy cards and really desire those particular cards. I don't. That's not something I do. So I don't even really follow the pricing on those particular cards. But overall, I think that there's opportunities. That if she's putting them out there right at Worlds, someone's going to come in lower, and then someone else will come in lower, and then someone else will come in lower, and then someone else will come in lower, and then they'll just keep driving their price down to where it finally bottoms out, and that market stabilizes, and then you'll probably see a little bit of an increase going the other way. iFOMO probably lacked of texture. There are so many fake seasons. There is. And that's what I mean, iFOMO. I really don't know some of the things that he puts out there for Rattle stuff. I just don't know. Some of them, it's obvious. They don't have texture. They look wrong. You can tell the lettering's wrong on some of the vintage ones. Those absolutely make sense to me. I can absolutely see that they're fake just by literally looking at them. I know it. I don't even question those ones. But some of them, it's like, how? They're like in a PSA slab. They got the PSA mark on them. They've got the hollow on the back. When you go into the eBay listing, you can even see. I don't know how it's fake. For some of them, I really just don't know. It's like he almost just grabbed them and said they're fake and listed it. But once again, teaching moment. What are you seeing? He doesn't even say in his post why it's fake. He just puts it out there that this is fake. Well, why? Why is it fake? Use this as a teaching moment for even me. I'm a veteran and I don't see why that's fake. Take it as a teaching moment to say the reason it's fake is because of this. It's simple. It's an easy thing you could do to really, really help that out. So, like I said, I think we need to focus more on teaching moments for this stuff at this point in time rather than trying to just point out everybody that's trying to scalp and scam. PokeSlam, these people are just using her name to try and get attention for their channels. And I agree with that. I honestly think you're probably right with that in a way. I think that they're using it as a ploy to try and push more views there that particular way, and her channel growing as big as it has is a great opportunity. Definitely could see that. The merch, yes, but they could fix that by limiting one per each person. Exactly. I mean, they could. It doesn't take much to fix these situations. They do that on Pokemon Center online all the time, so I don't know why they wouldn't do that at Pokemon Center at the actual event. Gimbo. I've dabbled in scalping and never felt good about it. NES and SNES mini consoles for Nintendo Switch and eBay. The thing is that I think in some ways I've never personally felt like I've done scalping because I just don't sell back to my local market. And if I do, if someone locally is looking for something, I usually just wash it because I'm not paying for anything, and I'll usually sell it to people locally. I have no problem selling things online on eBay and stuff like that at that 20 to 30% margin, especially like Evolving Skies. I mean, if I can get, like these C20 mini tins, for example, C22 mini tins, yeah, they're $9.98 a piece at Walmart, and yeah, I can sell the Evolving Skies right now for $13.50 to $14, and then they come with Brilliant Stars that I can sell for another $3.50 to $4 right now. yeah, I'm technically almost doubling down on that 10. That's definitely, by the time I pay shipping and everything, they maintain that 30%, 40, 35% profit margin. Evolving Skies definitely gives you that up and gives you that availability to be able to get that. And like I said, if you want to sit there and look at it and really break it down, anybody that's doing that is right in the same boat as she is. I just be honest, if you want to look in the mirror. Let's see here. OG Weedle Farm, welcome in. Market 101. Demand. Yep, exactly. Supply and demand. Plain and simple. She used the demand of a market, and she had a supply. How long that will hold and that pricing will hold is anybody's guess. And that's exactly how I feel about it. If you have an opportunity to use the market, yes, this particular item, I'm going to make good money on it. We'd all do it. You know, that Greninja EX, I bought it at 160. I sold it at 135. Or 135. I bought it at 164 and I sold it at 335. Do I sit there and think that I did something wrong? No, I bought a card with the expectation the value would go up. It went up, and I sold it back into the market 3-4 weeks later and made a decent profit. Once again, though, the next thing I might lose money. I mean, let's be 100% honest. These tins, I'm not making 20% markup from what I pay for these tins to actually marking or selling them. I'm only making about 12. So there again, you get one high selling item and you have 4 lower selling items, and eventually you're still running right at the same profit margins, which is exactly why we need to be looking at that. Let's see. Plus costs, expenses of travel and things like that too are all something to consider. Eric, exactly. Everyone in the business is doing it. Yep. Oh, me too. Like I said earlier, it's not a big deal. I'm scalping. Exactly. We're all doing it. Let's just be 100% honest. That's why I like PK's responses. We're all evil. If you're making money in this hobby, you are evil. Just get over it and move on. Let's see here. Desogen 47, thank you so much for joining in. As a Magic collector since '94, CCGs are as speculative a market as anything. MTG has sealed products with prices where you cannot make your money back without a YouTube channel. Yep, and that's exactly, I hear that a lot from a lot of people. That Magic is really, a lot of people that make the money on that are definitely have a following for people that are willing to pay that little bit extra so that they can make the profit. And that's how it is with some people. That's just the way that sometimes it works. Diphogen, I'm sorry, I'm probably saying your name completely wrong. I used to sometimes win booster boxes at pre-release or events, and I'd keep them in my closet. I think I kept a box of Con for 5 to 6 years, and it barely went up. And that's, yeah, some Pokemon used to be that way. I know that we have all these content creators saying that they always go up in price, but guys, there was times the booster boxes would sit for 10 years and never go up in value. It took a boom to really, another perfect example is still XY Evolutions. That set did not move until it was the last set to move during the boom. People like to use that as the poster child of how an overprinted set could gain value, but it still took a boom in a crazy time, a Black Swan event, in order to be able to make that happen. So is it reliable that every Pokemon set's going to do that? I don't know. Am I putting money in every Pokemon set in the hopes that it does? Of course I am. I mean, I hope that it will, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it will. Eric, you always have to have a competitive advantage. Exactly. You always got to have something that makes you competitive in the market. If you're not competitive in the market, then you're not going to be here for very long. Yep, people watching other people's pockets rather than their own. Eric, but you have those who undercut some and can't even break even. Yep. Happens all the time, even in our HVAC business. I'll sit there and I've got my profit margin and someone will come in and do it for what I'm paying for materials. I never understand how they can do it. It's like, I don't care what kind of sale you got. If you're selling stuff at that price, I've had people call up and go, well, they're, for a whole system change out, they're $1,000 cheaper than you. And it's like, sorry, I mean, I can't drop $1,000. I don't have that much in my... I got to maintain a certain level, and if I'm not there, I'm not even going to take the truck out of the driveway. It don't make sense. If I'm not making some profit on this job, there's no point in me even driving the truck out of here. Let's see here. You can make money, and that makes everything attractive. I held cards that were worth over $100, but then they crash down to 20. If you luck out, you can make money, but you can't predict that. No, you can't. And that's the problem is that this is a very speculative market. When it comes down to the overall market itself, it's all speculation. Once again, buying booster boxes and all the stuff behind me and holding booster packs and all this stuff of Evolving Skies. Could Evolving Skies crash? Oh yeah, there's always an opportunity that it could. I don't see it happening in the near future, but there's always an opportunity that these particular cards can go. That's why buying these cards at these really high peaks, buying a Moonbreon right now and hoping that the value doesn't drop. A PSA 10, I mean, you got so many in this market, and a lot of it is still, in my opinion, a little bit of hype and FOMO on that particular card. People just don't want to sell them any lower, but if people start needing money in the near future, the price of that Moonbreon could definitely drop in price. And same with the booster box of Evolving Skies. They could also drop in price. Me holding on to 30 booster boxes of it could definitely bite me in the butt. And granted, it's probably never going to go below $99. But the fact is that I might lose half the value of what I've got there now at any point in time. Not likely, but it's possible. It's always something that you have to consider when you're looking at, number one, investing, and number two, business, is that there's always that opportunity. I think it's easier and safer with sealed product than singles. So much can change in value. Singles value, reprints can kill them entirely. Exactly. And sometimes we see reprints on sealed product drop the price for a little bit and then they recover afterwards. So yeah, definitely can do that up and down market, and it's less volatile. Personally, I think it's less volatile in the sealed market than it is inside of the actual singles market. Singles markets can vary too, because especially when they're still in play too, because sometimes they have value really high because they're playable, and then they lose the playability and then the profit goes down. So yeah, it can get changed very quickly on singles on how well they perform. The Universe Beyond collector boxes seems to be doing well though. Yeah. Sealed product is based on older folks that want to draft with only that item. You will never make your money back, but you can capture a moment of your childhood. Yeah. And that's and that's in Magic the Gathering, absolutely. Because I know a lot of guys, even my friend likes buying older boxes just because he likes to do drafts and do the draft boxes, and it's like, okay. I haven't gotten back into Magic the Gathering, so it's like I can do one hobby at a time. I'm not doing two. I'm doing one at a time. That's all that I'm capable of doing. Number one, fund wise, and number two, it would keep me out of divorce court, because if I started going back into Magic and Pokemon, my wife would skin me. She wouldn't divorce me. I would just disappear. All of a sudden, Northwoods would be gone. What Northwoods? I don't know where he is. I scalped 3 Mewtwo's off of eBay today with the intent of grading for profit. Like, we all do it. Did you pre-release Surging Spark? Seems to be the play right now, pre-order. I can put up, so if you go to the Discord, I was actually just setting up to get pre-releases on that. So let me see. I can give you the date when I would have to go by. So I was going to do pre-release orders. So if you are looking at pre-releases, let me give you I don't have it up. Okay. Let me give you when I have to have the pre-orders in by, because I'm just pulling my email up here real quick. And I can tell you, so on Discord, I'm going to have these pre-orders up for you guys. So if you are interested, I'm going to have any pre-orders in by the 9/8. But the problem is even the distributor, man, they're, with shipping, I'm looking at about 100 or 110, 108 a box roughly with shipping. Freaking stupid. Once again, I'm lower on the totem pole when it comes down to the distributor too, so I don't order enough to really get me the next tier of discounts. But yeah, Gimbo, I've pre-ordered some for myself, but I am also going to offer pre-orders for everybody else as well. So if you are interested in pre-orders, I will be putting those up. I also do have the pre-orders going up for the Ultra Premium Collection The one I'm waiting for is the Greninja one. I haven't seen the pre-order for the Greninja version yet. So but that just got announced recently, so I'm probably not gonna know about that one right away. And that doesn't have the date on it, but I'm guaranteeing it's probably around the same time. This one's probably gonna be coming out of pre-order. The what is it? The Terrapogus one. So yeah. If you're interested in the pre-orders, join the Discord, because I am going to have that up. It's going to go through my Shopify, but you can do pre-orders, and then I'll just I'll have to get the pre-orders probably by the 6th, and then I will pre-order everything through the distributor by the 8th. So the 7th or the 8th, a couple days. They'll give me 2 days to get the pre-orders in. Let's see. The OP9, is the pre-order up for that yet? If you're looking for it, I could probably... Yeah, they don't have... I only got up to 8. So, it's not up for pre-order yet. It doesn't mean... I don't have the option for pre-order for that yet. So, if it comes up, I'll probably get a couple of them. Personally, I try and get at least a case of it, so... Let's see, pre-orders. So yeah, Gimbo Slice. Follow the Discord. I am going to put up a link here. I'm hoping to have that done tonight or tomorrow for Shopify to be able to do that. Okay, sounds good. Yeah, when I see OP9 come up, iPhone, I'll get a hold of you and let you know too. Pokeslam Random Q is Northwoods, New England. I'm a Mainer, by the way. No, Northwoods is actually northern Wisconsin. Everything up here is called Northwoods, so that's how I went. Northwoods Insurance, Northwoods Bank, Northwoods, yeah, so. But yeah, nope, I'm actually in northern Wisconsin, up almost by Lake Superior. About an hour short of Lake Superior. But yeah, so, yeah, let me see, Green Emoji Dude. 99 Evolving Skies. Yeah, nice. Yeah, and I put out I thought I was taking a huge risk on that when I did that, because I bought 10 cases of it for $99. It was like with tax, it was like 103 something. So it was like 104 something. So 104 total. Because I didn't have any tax exemption when I bought that in December of 2021. So I've sold half of it off. I've kept 5 cases. Because it started going up in price, and I sold out. I sold out at the point where I pretty much covered the cost of everything, and then I've just been holding the other 5. But yeah, no, it was one of those things. I took a big risk at the time, because that was when we got all those reprints, and some people may not have even remembered that. I know Mason does, because we've talked about that a few times. When they did a reprint, like a massive reprint right before they did Fusion Strike release. So they did a massive reprint like Shining Fates, Battle Styles, Chilling Reign, Evolving Skies. Fusion Strike had a massive drop in Celebrations, like all at the same time. So I got a really good deal on it just because I got Chilling Reign and all that at a super deal, just because the LGSs were just trying to get out from it. They needed cash because it chewed up so much of their capital when it came down to it. So I had cash at that time. I purchased a lot at that point, and I'm not disappointed with those purchases at all. Chilling Reign, Battle Styles really took a while to come back. Even Battle Styles, I bought that at $75 a box. So right now I'm doing really decent on that one. Chilling Reign, I purchased that at $85 a box. And then Evolving Skies was $99 a box, with plus tax on all of them. So, but yeah, no, definitely not sad at all that I'd made those purchases. But at the time, it was a big risk. People don't realize the amount of risks that was taking, because that was when Pokemon was slowing down by everybody's account, but the pricing was just so good that you just couldn't pass it up. I couldn't pass it up. The pricing was there. The chance was good enough to where I was willing to take that risk and go for it. So, but yeah. So, in your professional opinion, do you see the early Scarlet and Violet sets getting a reprint? Seems like a lot of people think some won't. I don't think that base set's going to get a reprint. I don't know. I'm not going to say for sure because Pokemon can throw out some wild cards and all of a sudden randomly reprint. Do I think that we'll see a reprint of some of them right now? I don't think so. I think that if we're going to see a reprint of Scarlet and Violet, of Paldea Evolved, I think that that may happen probably mid next year. Because Pokemon has a habit and a really big trend, if you look back, of doing a reprint about 4 months before the product hits 2 years of age. And they've done that through all the way through Sun and Moon. They did that a lot through Scarlet or through Sword and Shield. Can I see them continue to do that trend coming up? Yes. The one I'm actually surprised that we aren't seeing, and it wouldn't be surprised, and I think the only reason that we haven't, it's like the late sets, like the Tag Team sets in Sun and Moon. Some of them got reprints, some did not, and the reprints that they got were very small. Like Cosmic Eclipse, the reprint got canceled. Team Up, the reprint got canceled. They never did another reprint. Burning Shadows, or not Burning Shadows, Unbroken Bonds and Unified Minds had small reprints. Very, very small reprints. Nothing huge. So it's a crapshoot. I don't see them reprinting Scarlet and Violet base set. I really don't think that they'll be doing a booster box reprint of that. What you might see is maybe some sleeve blisters come out, potentially some of those check lane blisters, possibly, and this is where we saw it in Sword and Shield a lot, would be ETBs. I could see ETBs being reprinted again here coming up on those particular products. They seem to be on the booster boxes are one and done, while the ETBs get multiple reprints. So it'll be really interesting to see if they do. I don't know. We're really short on booster boxes right now when it comes down to, the distributor side of things. And Mason and I have talked about that on other lives, is that there's just no booster boxes out there right now at, like, Southern Hobby. Let me see. There's only one booster box, and I think it's Obsidian Flame. Obsidian Flame was still left here not that long ago. And base set. So, no. Let me see. So, Obsidian Flame, I can still get Obsidian Flame from distributor. And I can get Scarlet and Violet base set. Those are the only two that I can get at distributor right now. Yeah, Temporal Forces, I don't know if they'll do very much. Twilight Masquerade has been really popular because of the playability and that Greninja. I don't know, though, that Temporal Forces does have some playability to it as well. There's been some decent playability. I don't want to say it's been very strong, but once again, I don't think that people were getting into the Paradox Pokemon all that well. I mean, it was a cool concept. I think 2 sets of it was probably enough. Twilight Masquerade, I was kind of glad. I mean, there's some of them still left in Twilight Masquerade, just like Battle Styles. They just kind of kept rolling across, but there were no really new ones introduced. Then they went to the Ogerpon and all that inside of there. So they did change that up a little bit as well. I'm just looking up. Yeah, because I'm just looking right here. Because I'm just trying to remember. I don't remember the Greninja EX. That was not a Paradox Pokemon. I'm just going to go through a list because I don't think there were any new Paradox Pokemon inside of Paradox Rift that I remember. Someone could let me know if I'm wrong, but I don't remember. I don't remember there being a new one. I'm just opening up the set list right now to look because I don't remember there being any new Paradox Pokemon in there. I know that, like, Screamtail and all that carried forward, but they weren't new in the set. I'm just looking, yeah. Blood Moon Ursaluna came up. Nope. No. So I don't see any new Paradox. I mean, like, Iron Thorns came forward, but that was already new. Or old. That's a Dragapult Terrasilize. Yeah, no, there were no... I didn't think so, and I don't think there's any coming up in the new set either. So, no, I think that the Paradox Pokemon they were short-lived. They were fun when they were first came out, but I wasn't a big fan of them. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. The only one I really did like was, I thought Roaring Moon was fairly decent. Paradox Rift to me had better Paradox Pokemon in it. That's just my feelings and my thoughts. I mean, you guys might have a completely different opinion on that, but personally, I liked Iron Valiant. I thought Iron Valiant was a very good one. I enjoyed Iron Valiant. I liked Roaring Moon. I thought Roaring Moon was a really nice ancient one. Iron Thorns I thought was fairly decent as well. So I think that there was some decent ones there in the Paradox Rift. But there was another one, Paradox Rift, I liked too. I don't remember which one it was now. I draw a blank. Sometimes these sets, I'm trying to remember what's Temporal Forces, because Temporal Forces had Iron Crown, Raging Bolt, Gouging Fire, Walking Wake. Were the big ones in that. I'm just going through here. Iron Hands. That was the other one. Iron Hands. Wasn't a big fan of it, but I mean, Iron Hands was the other one that was inside of the first set. But Iron Hands had a really good playability to it, which was nice. Garchomp. Nope. Just checking, because I'm looking at it right now, just making sure I'm not missing any of them. Sandy Shock had a cool alternate art. I actually like the Sandy Shock alternate art. Just looking. Roaring Moon. Sandy Shock was okay. Iron Valiant I enjoyed. Iron Hands. The Tapu Koko was a cool illustrator rare in that one. I did like that one. Goldingo. But that wasn't really a Paradox Pokemon. So, no, I like the Iron Valiant and Roaring Moon were probably my favorite Paradox Pokemon, myself, personally. It is. Paradox is a nice deep set. I think that Paradox Rift did a really nice job, personally. I think it's Temporal Forces, like I said, they just went after the things, which makes no sense whatsoever, but I always laugh. If you actually follow Pokemon lore, the Suicune, the Walking Wake, Gouging Fire, and the Raging Bolt make absolutely zero sense. They would have made more sense for Pokemon lore to make them future Pokemon than it would have been than it was to make ancient Pokemon, because Oho created them from the burnt temple. Supposedly, fan theory is that they came from evolutions, because you think about it, it does make a little bit of sense that they're evolutions that were burned up in the temple in the fire, and Oho brought them back to life and created Entei, Suicune, and Raikou from the burning remains. So how are there ancient versions of a Pokemon that in Pokemon lore were created by Oho inside of a temple? Future would have made sense. I could have gotten behind the future ones, because yeah, they could evolve, they could change as they move forward, but damn you, Oho, you messed me up. I was just thinking, darn you people who watch Pokemon, you mess with me. You mess with us doing what we want. But no, that's always been my question on the whole deal is how do you have ancient Pokemon of something that was created in Pokemon lore? But alright guys, well, it's getting a little bit quiet here, but yeah, thank you everybody for joining. Of course, I see there's a ton of people that came through here. Make sure you guys hit that like button before you leave, as always. And once again, if you do want to support the channel, make sure you check out the merch here and the link down below. That's also greatly appreciated. If you want to have yourself a cool Northwoods shirt, we do have those available, and I believe there's hoodies up now too. So if you're looking at some Northwoods, support the channel with some Northwoods gear, that's greatly appreciated as well. Oh, Pokemami, I missed the children discussion. Well, you can always go back and watch it over again. I just go on a little bit of a rant on that. So, like I said, it was very much a rant style. It was more just the fact that we have a lot of irritation in the hobby right now, and I think there's a lot of boredom when it comes down to this hobby. So, but thank you so much, Pokemami, for stopping in as well. Glad to see you in the chat here as we're closing up. Like I said, we're kind of just closing her up here this evening. Thank you, iFOMO, for putting up the merch link. As always, greatly appreciated for that. And once again, we're here at 10 o'clock. We always go from 9 to 10 o'clock every Tuesday. I keep saying I'll be doing new videos, and like I said, I got videos sitting there, but they just feel redundant. I kind of like the lives where we can just have live discussions about things. I like just having the discussions with you guys and also getting your point of views on these particular items in the chat. Plus being able to answer the questions that you guys might have as well. It's always fun just to sit down and do this. So I've been kind of staying away from videos right now. some point, if maybe in the wintertime when I have a little bit more time too, I could really spend the time and get on point with them. But overall, it feels redundant right now. Summer's always a bad time to do videos anyways, because the market's always slow. There's not much going on. Fall season will really kick things off here as we're going to get new products, new holiday specials. The holiday calendars are coming out. All that stuff is now hitting the shelves and hitting the ground. So once again, if you guys are interested too on pre-orders, I am going to be putting up the we'll be having up the UPC. That'll be going up for pre-order here. I'm hoping to have that up tonight. If not, check tomorrow. I should have that all figured out because I was having an issue with Shopify. My Shopify account was being weird, so I'm trying to get that fixed. The other thing is too is I will have the booster bundles as well, the 6-pack booster bundles. So one thing about those though is that I do warn people I am bottom of the list for that particular product. So if you do want it, just be cautioned that I might have to refund you because I have had that cut on not Temporal Forces, but on Paradox Rift. I did have that cut on me just because they didn't have the quantity available for it. So me being low man on the totem pole, I sometimes get those products cut. I've never had booster boxes cut. I've never had ETBs cut, and I've never had the cardboard sleeves cut on me or any of the other products. It's really the 6-pack bundles has been the only thing that I have not received. So just so you know, if you do want to purchase that or get ahead on some of those pre-orders for your lives, for yourself, or for, get a little bit on ahead of them, definitely check out the Discord. I'll have the link up for that for Shopify tomorrow for you guys. But otherwise, thank you guys, everybody, for joining in tonight. Hopefully you had a great evening, and hopefully you guys have a great rest of the week. Here it's been hot, but now we're finally going to get cooled off, so it'd be kind of nice to get back into the 70s again. 90s is a little extreme for this time of the year in Wisconsin, but we get through it. Other than that, thank you guys, everybody, for joining once again, and we will see you next Tuesday, 9 p.m. Central Time here on Northwoods TCG.